Everybody, and welcome back to 2KU's weekly podcast, the number one destination for all the 2KU news and headlines throughout the week. And we're finally back once again after the longest wait. We finally get football to talk about. Hello, everybody. Once again, I'm Type A Joy 101. Joining me today are Danny V and DaPigbear for another episode. We have a lot of good stories for you today. How are you two doing, Danny?
I'm doing pretty good. We had a great week 0, and we're gonna have even a better week 1.
Pigbear, how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
All right. Thank you for that. We have a couple headlines we want to focus on this week, the ones I've typed out here. How about Missouri? The first top 10 matchup of the year, the first team in the top 10, the Illinois Fighting Illini losing at home to an unranked Missouri, who get revenge after 2022's outing where Missouri was ranked and Illinois wasn't. We'll get back to that. Northern Illinois last night, if you watched the stream, lost their starting running back Mike Lake. The backup came in and carried NIU to a surprise win over New Mexico State. Meanwhile, in Orlando, Ty Benjamin torches the Miami defense to get 469 yards in a win in Orlando over the Hurricanes. And a big game in Arlington as Texas A&M almost loses a 21-point lead, but manages to get the goal line stand at the end. We'll talk about this more in detail later, but let's hand it over to Danny for some of his top headlines.
Yeah, is that if you think week 0 was good, week 1 is stacked. We have several top-ranked matchups. We also had ourselves some almost FCS upsets. For example, Northern Arizona just lost by 2 against Utah Tech. And we have other major matchups, including the MEAC versus SWAC. Close matchup, low scoring, but 14-13, Bethune-Cookman wins. And Prairie View A&M, the FCS kickoff statement, 40-14 against Eastern Tennessee State.
We're going to go ahead, look at my bit of the week. We're going to start with a game that I haven't mentioned yet. We're going to go down to Boca Raton. USF taking on FAU. South Florida Bulls had a disappointing year last year. However, to start off, they had a commanding defensive presence. They started down 0-7. They managed to claw back by the third. It was a back and forth affair into the fourth, as with the 14-7 lead, FAU had a big short pass for a touchdown, and it was USF with 4 minutes to go, 12-yard handoff to tie the game, and it would send it to overtime. FAU got the ball first. That drive stalls. Morgan kicks a 42-yarder to put FAU up, but on the first play for USF in overtime, a 25-yard connection, and USF walks it off in Boca. 28-24, the Bulls manage an upset win. Danny?
Yeah, that was a great matchup, one of the best matchups of week 0. Another matchup I do want to talk about is Nebraska versus Ohio. Close matchup. I'm sure Husker fans might be a bit worried. And for Ohio, they must have mixed feelings after winning the MAC last season.
The MAC champions, Ohio, as we alluded to, traveled up to Nebraska. 26-22 was the final in that one. Nebraska avoiding a scare at home to start off the season. Let's take it to some teams you wouldn't expect to talk about. Northern Arizona of the SCS taking on Utah Tech in the Trailblazers' first game as a Division I FBS member. Remember, this was a back-and-forth affair through most of the game. We skip ahead to the fourth. A field goal puts Northern Arizona up 19-15. Utah Tech would respond with their own to draw within one. Another field goal, as it was a kicking affair. A 26-yarder gives another lead to NAU. With 11 seconds to go on the goal line, a short pass to the right side, and there's that touchdown that put them over the edge. Utah Tech, in their first FBS game, gets the win, 24-22, just over NAU. They're actually not favored to win this game. NAU was the favorite +4. It was a big shocker if they were both in FCS, but Utah Tech manages to notch a historic win for their program. Danny?
Yeah, Utah Tech, they must be feeling good about their first win as an FBS team, though they got to be worried about their stretch down the road because it's going to be really tough.
We have another game for you, the last of the big play-by-play ones we have here. How about Missouri? Once again, heading up to Champaign to take on the Illini. Illinois, 12-0 last season until 2 losses in the conference championship and in the Cotton Bowl derailed their season. And this was no different. Missouri off to a commanding start, 24-7 by the start of into the 11 minutes and 9 seconds remaining in the third. Illinois, though, clawed their way back with a 12-yard pass, a 4-yard run, and a 53-yard field goal, the current longest on the year. That would tie it with a minute 49. Missouri would get it back, and it was a big run from the tailback with 34 seconds to go in Champaign. And that gave Missouri the lead. Last play, quarterback stepping up, rolling right, and he can't connect, runs out of time. Clock expires. Missouri upsets number 17 in the country. Danny?
Yeah, that it's a shocker from Illinois. They were having big dreams, and then Missouri came up and punched them right in the jaw. So they're feeling really well for their season.
All right. Let's take a look at some other scores throughout the college football landscape. Florida and Miami kicked us off this season in Orlando. The Gators had an incredible day through the air. Ty Benjamin, as we mentioned, my pick for player of the week with a 400-plus yard day, one of the best days we've seen from a Florida quarterback. Is this Florida team different, do you think, Danny?
They seem like they're hyped up. They seem like they are ready, and our computer number machine did have Florida quite high, so maybe they're out here to make a statement in the world.
That is the official name, of course. 31-23 the final from Orlando. We head now to Dublin as Notre Dame took on Navy. I wish I could say this game was close, but it really wasn't. 27-6 the final. Notre Dame running away with it.
Yeah.
That is true. Danny Pigbear, thoughts?
Again, close in the real life. But again, just always cool to see a game played overseas.
Mm-hmm. Danny?
Notre Dame off to a great start of the season, and Navy, they're really hoping they can turn their season around quickly.
Mm-hmm. We'll roll ahead down to Arlington. Texas A&M had a commanding start over Arkansas. They got up to a 21-0 lead by the third quarter, and it seemed like that was all withering away in classic Aggie fashion as Arkansas scored point after point. It came down to the wire at the goal line on the final drive. First down, they try punching up the gut. No. Second down from the 3-yard line. Throw to the right, incomplete. Third down, they try punching in again. They can't do it. They're down by 7. They need to go for it here. The handoff, stuffed at the line. Time expires. Texas A&M survives the scare. 28-21, the final. Danny?
Yeah, these teams both had disappointing season last season, and let's hope that this could jumpstart their season real quick.
Pigbear?
Yeah. Crazy ending.
Mm-hmm. How about our 2 FCS games on the docket? We'll start with a commanding performance by Prairie View A&M in the FCS kickoff presented by Guardian. 40-14 the final. They take down East Tennessee State, and the favorites in the SWAC get off to a good start. Pigbear?
Yeah, good job for the SWAC winning the SWAC MEAC Challenge.
This is the Guardian kickoff. Danny?
You kick off my bad?
Yeah, it was a great win for Prairie View A&M. I'm sure now they're hoping for a good run to get into the FCS playoff.
They made the playoffs last season. They won the I believe they won the Celebration Bowl back in 2021. They're trying to get back there again. Moving on to another another SWAC team, Tuskegee in their second season in the FBS. They just came so close, but it's not enough as Bethune-Cookman walks away with a win in Atlanta, 14-13. The Wildcats get the win, Denny.
Yeah, it was a bit of a shocker for Tuskegee. They were hoping for so much, and then they just fell down short.
Pigbear?
Well, the Wildcats beat the Golden Tigers here, so just good job by Bethune-Cookman.
Mm-hmm. The Tuskegee Golden Tigers still searching for their first win against a Division I program. We'll have to see if they manage to get that later. We'll briefly mention the game we played on stream. Number 20, New Mexico State, falling 22-17 to number 24, Northern Illinois, as a backup running back comes in to save the day for the Huskies, as well as a huge defensive performance late in the game. What are your thoughts on these teams, Danny?
Yeah, the season's still not over for both of them, so they both could make a good run, but I'm definitely sure North Illinois is feeling amazing, and I'm sure they're excited for it.
Pigbear?
Yeah, just good win by the...
The Huskies.
Husky, yeah, good win by the Huskies. Sorry, I have to zone out for a second, but yeah, good win. Good win over
I'll briefly mention a few more games here. How about South Carolina shutting out Kentucky at home, 20-0. Columbia, the reigning Ivy League champs, also commanding a big lead over Fordham, 28-0. And how about Arizona putting 65 up in a game over West Texas, 65-14 is the final score there. Any other games you want to mention here, Danny?
Yeah, it was a major win for South Carolina, and I'm sure they're going to be looking forward to have this jump start their season. Meanwhile, Kentucky, they're going to need a lot of help.
Do we have any games here that you think should be mentioned that I haven't brought up yet?
Yes, I do have one big one. How about the now former FCS national champion almost pulling it off on the road? Kennesaw State 26, Kent State 28.
All right. Pigbear, are there any games on the score sheet that you think should be brought up here?
That one, too. I was a little bit wrong there. I said Kent State would hammer them down, but Kennesaw State nearly proved me wrong.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure you would love to mention the two SoCon games we had on that schedule.
Let me pull those up. Jog my memory really quick.
This is scores and schedules.
Scores and schedules. Backroom stuff. Technical difficulties. Scores and schedules. Oh my gosh, I'm embarrassing myself on eye.
That's why we have background music now.
BMI lays it on Spice in a buck now, and the Furman Paladins. Where is this? Paladins of Furman. Where is it? I can't find it.
It's right under the FAU game.
FAU, yeah, thank you. Such a smart. Furman Paladins. Furman also beat Western State. Good job to the Keydets and Paladins.
Yeah, Furman going on the road to win 24-9 over Northwestern State. Thank you for that. We're going to move on now. There's no top 25 this week, I believe. We'll get the top 25 at the end of week 1. That's Sunday. We're going to move straight on to our week 1 matchups. Danny, you want to kick us off here?
Yes. We have our first major matchup on Friday. It's a classic rivalry, less so much of a rivalry game, but it's Virginia going on the road to Louisville. Last time they played, Louisville played in 2022, and Louisville won 34-14.
All right. We can go back and forth here. I'll take this game. Penn State and Alabama heading up to Charlotte. A lot of buzz around this Penn State team. Pretty much the opposite for Alabama, though. The Crimson Tide ineligible, as we've mentioned before, for the SEC Championship and the bowl season this year. As for Penn State, their hopes can't be higher. The numbers favor Penn State. What do you got, Danny?
Give me Penn State to win it. They're hyped up. They're motivated. I'm sure they're going to be looking forward to this matchup. Meanwhile, Alabama, They might have a lot of different notions about it.
I did forget to mention the other game. Louisville is favored. We'll move on now to a quick matchup. Presbyterian taking on North Carolina, number 16 in the country. It's always cool to see some teams get into action to warm themselves up. It's certainly going to be a UNC win here. Danny, your thoughts?
Yeah, it's gonna be a UNC domination. It's gonna be an easy win to just kick off the season.
All right. What might not be so easy is a game in Conway, the reigning Big East champions, in Temple, number 18 in the country, heading on the road to Coastal Carolina, a really treacherous destination. The Surf Turf almost won the SEC or the SBC last season. They remain the favorites to win their division this year. The numbers favor Coastal Carolina at home. Is this another top 25 upset in the making, Denny?
I think there's a really big chance. I believe Coastal Carolina, they're going to look forward to. They went to the Sun Belt Championship in their first season, and I'm sure they're going to be looking forward to this matchup.
Pigbear, who do you have?
Give me Temple Owls. I mean, well, upset per se.
All right, Danny, you can take these next two.
Yeah, we got ourselves a rivalry game here as number 1 Oklahoma State goes to Tulsa. Last time they played, Tulsa lost us 15-30.
This is the first game for Tulsa in the Conference USA. The numbers heavily favor Oklahoma State, though, on the road. Don't doubt this team on the road anyway. OK State's biggest win of last season was a win on the road against Baylor. I'm going to pick the Cowpokes here. Your thoughts, Danny?
Give me the Pokes. It's going to be a combination game.
Pigbear?
Give me the Pokes, easy one here.
All right. You got this one, Danny?
All right, next up, we have ourselves the Fox Big Noon Kickoff. Number 12, Michigan State against number 14, Baylor. Michigan State coming off the Big Ten championship run, and Baylor falling short last season, but they were a former national title runner-up.
They're trying to get back to those lofty ambitions they had back in 2021. The numbers actually favoring Michigan State on the road, but give me the Bears to win this one. Danny?
I think Michigan State's going to win this one really close. It's going to be a tight matchup. A big defensive showing.
I'll take these next two. Maryland. Maryland, one of the toughest schedules in the nation they have ahead of them. They'll be taking on, to start off this gauntlet, the number 17 UConn Huskies, who are the favorites to win the Big East this season. They were runner-ups last year, losing to Temple. The numbers favor the Huskies big, and I'm going to take that big bet there for UConn. Danny?
Give me UConn to win it. It's going to be at home, and I'm sure they're going to have a big win in Maryland. They have a tough road ahead. I'm sure they could maybe pull off an upset or two later down the road, but this is not one of them.
All right. Now we move on to... Actually, wait. Pigbear, your thoughts?
Yeah, give me blowout.
All right. We now move on to teams who have surprisingly met very little. This is the first matchup in the 21st century between Utah and Houston. They last played back in 1997. Houston won that game. The Cougars are the Conference USA West favorites. Utah won the Mountain West back in 2021. They're trying to get back to that ambitious goal after a struggle last season. The numbers favor Utah on the road. I'm going to take a bit of a gamble and pick the Utes in Houston. Danny?
Yeah, this is going to be a major matchup, especially because next season, both are going to become Power 5 teams, or Power 6 teams. Utah joined the Pac-12, Houston joined the Big 12. But give me Houston to win at home.
All right. Pigbear, who you have?
Yeah, give me Houston to win at home. Again, two future Power 6 teams. Well, one's already covered. But
Danny, you're up?
Yep, this one is a little bit close to me because this one is going to be Texas Tech traveling to number 13 UCF. UCF starting off 11-0 after starting 0-3 last season. They haven't lost since. Meanwhile, Texas Tech, they haven't won since October 1st, 2022, Week 5, when they beat Drake 58-33.
Their last conference win was, I believe, back in 2021. Texas Tech is definitely not favored. UCF is the heavy point favorite. I'm going to take the Knights in this one.
Yep, give me UCF as well. I believe they're going to win big, and they're excited to join the Piggies next season.
PigBear, who do you have?
Crap. I zoned out. Sorry.
Texas Tech and UCF is the matchup right here.
Give me the nice Central Florida.
All right, we now move on to a rivalry game, the Iron Skillet, one of the first matchups of the season. SMU traveling to number 6 TCU. They'll be conference opponents next season. Last year, TCU won the matchup 38-27. TCU leading the overall rivalry series 52-44 and 5. The Frogs are the favorites. I'm going to take TCU in this one, Danny.
Give me the Horned Frogs as well. I know SMU will put up a big fight. It might be close by halftime, but I think at the end, TCU will run away with it.
All right. Now, how about we head to... first off, yeah, PigBear?
Frog ball. I'm calling it. Frog ball.
Frog ball. Now we move on to Atlanta, the Chick-fil-A kickoff for 2023, and this matchup is going to be quite exciting. Number 22, Clemson, taking on the Dave Show Truckers. These two will be in the same conference next season. Dave Show will be joining the ACC in 2024. Clemson, a lot of hype going into this season. This will be the first start for Travis Heller, the much-hyped transfer student for the school. The numbers actually favor Clemson in this matchup. I'm going to take the Tigers to get a big win and start off their momentum. Danny?
I'm going to go bold here. Roll Truckers. Let's see Dave win on the road in Atlanta.
All right, PigBear?
All right. Probably no bias here, but I mean, two good teams. I'm a big Dave Show, like their rise. Glad they're coming to the ACC. Makes perfect sense with Florida State and Miami. But give me the Tigers. Easy pick.
Mm-hmm. Danny, you're up.
Yeah, next up we got the Rocky Mountain Showdown. Colorado State against number 11 Colorado. They'll be playing in Denver. Last time these two teams played was in 2022, where Colorado won 41-17.
These two teams have played every year since 1983 consecutively. Colorado has won the last 9 of these matchups. Give me the Buffs to win this. Danny?
Yep, give me the Buffs as well. It should be a pretty big matchup. I mean, Colorado State didn't have a good season last season. Colorado won the Big 12. Give me Colorado to win.
All right, PigBear?
Buffs 550.
Big one. Here's a little fun tidbit. There has never in 2KU history been a matchup between Tulane and Oregon. That'll change this Saturday. This is the first matchup between the SEC and Pac-12 or Pac-10 schools. Oregon, more excited than ever. Terrence Noel and Andrew Burnett back on the sidelines for these teams. Burnett spent most of last season out with an injury. They're glad to have that team back because they were looking for a natty last season and this. And hopefully this team can remain healthy like they couldn't last year. The numbers favor Oregon. Give me the Ducks to win, Danny.
Yeah, give me the Ducks to win as well. I know Tulane, they're mostly looking forward to the home games, but this will be a fun matchup. And I gotta tell you this uniform matchup will look amazing.
I'm sure it will. PigBear.
Yeah, great uniform, but give me the Ducks.
Mm-hmm. A future Pac-12 matchup coming up here. Danny, you got that?
Yeah, this one is going to be a little fun matchup. It is going to be the number 23 Oregon State traveling to San Diego to play against the Aztecs. There will be future Pac-12 teams next season, and it'll be a little fun matchup between these two.
This is the second matchup we've had where the ranked team is not the favorite. San Diego State remains the point favorite. I'm going to take the Aztecs in this matchup. Danny?
Give me Oregon State. They had a really good season last year, and I think they are going to carry on this momentum.
PigBear?
Even though it's not an upset, most people consider this an upset. Give me the San Diego State Aztecs.
Uh-huh.
Sorry, this reminds me of a real life game last year, Appalachian State, North Carolina, where App State was the favorites going in.
Here's another one, Danny.
Yeah. Next up, we have Fresno State at number 5 USC. USC just came off of a national championship appearance, and Fresno State, they're looking forward to their Mountain West season next year.
Fresno State, as you mentioned, will be a Mountain West team next year. USC had a natty appearance last year. Give me the Trojans to win this one, though it's going to be close, I think. Pigbear?
Give me USC winning.
All right. And Danny?
Give me USC to win big. It's going to be a bit of a slaughter.
We move on now to 2 games on Sunday. The Orange Blossom Classic between 2 of the most successful teams in recent memory from the MEAC, as Hampton takes on Florida A&M in Miami. The numbers here favor the Florida A&M Rattlers, who won the MEAC last season. Danny, who do you have?
Give me Florida A&M. I think they're going to win in their backyard.
Pigbear?
You go Rattlers.
All right. The Paint Bucket Bowl wraps up Sunday as Arkansas State takes on number 21 Memphis. Last year, these 2 teams faced off. Memphis won 27-24. Memphis is the points favorite. I'm going to take the Tigers in this one. Danny?
Give me the Tigers. They should win this pretty easy.
All right. Pigbear?
Memphis.
And that will wrap up the recaps. We have 2 more games coming your way this weekend. We're going to have a double-header stream. 2 streams, 1 day. We're going to start in Nashville for a Nashville kickoff game between 2 of the top 5 teams in the country. Number 4, Georgia Tech, will be taking on number 2, Virginia Tech in Nashville. Georgia Tech came so close to winning the SEC last season. Their big boogeyman was they couldn't win in Atlanta. Can they win in Nashville this season? Meanwhile, Virginia Tech, they've won 3 straight ACC championships, and a win against Georgia Tech would be the first step on their way to potentially returning to a natty. They haven't won that. They haven't been to the national championship in a while, and that 2020 title only gets further and further away. The points favor the Hokies in this. Who do you have, Danny?
The Tecmo Bowl is one of the classic games, or otherwise referred to as the Battle of the Techs. A fun matchup, but give me the Hokies. I think they're going to win it.
All right, Pigbear.
The Ramblin' Wreck and the Hokies. Techs, interesting names. Hokie A, Hokie High, Polytechnic BPI, go Vautech.
Virginia Tech. I will pick Virginia Tech as well. I think that they are the favorites potentially to play in a national championship this season. But that's not the only game we'll have. We have our second game in Arlington. The Cowboys Classic kickoff, and this might be the best matchup that this game's ever had. Two top 10 schools. Number 9 Stanford. They played in the Rose Bowl last season, losing to Michigan State. They're the 2021 national champs. They're going to take on number 10 Michigan. Now, if you don't count Rose Bowls, these 2 teams have not met that much. And for how dominant they've been, they have not met in the past 5 years. Stanford is currently the points favorite. I'm actually going to be picking the Wolverines in this matchup. I think Michigan remains a much stronger team, as a lot of Stanford's big talent was lost to the draft over the last year. Give me the Wolverines to win. Danny?
Give me the Wolverines, but really close. This game looks like it'll be a nail-biter to the finish, but I think Michigan will be able to win it much bigger.
All right, Pigbear?
Not so fast. Go Stanford.
Stanford, the pick. Really, both of these games could go either way. Really exciting stuff I hope to see this year. Week 1 represents possibilities, and really, at this stage, anything can happen. We have so much to talk about this year. Next week, we have all of our Week 1 scores. I'll also be breaking down the top candidates for the Heisman Trophy this season. Don't forget to stay tuned for that. Thank you all for watching today's episode of 2KU Weekly. This one breezed by for you. Don't forget to join our Discord for more information about the scores, as well as live updates for news every single week. Thank you all for watching. Any other messages before we head off?
Hope you enjoy this weekend because it's going to be a fun one from Thursday to Monday.
All right, Pig.
For matchups like Appalachian State versus Louisiana and Old Dominion versus James Madison.
Keep an eye on those games. They'll probably be very exciting in the smaller scale. Thank you all for watching, and so